How's it, everybody? Considered a madman by his four sisters, Count Walter von Gattermeyer was the son of the late Earl Lucas von Gattermeyer and the sole heir of their incredible family fortune. Walter established the Gattermeyer Transmutation Foundry Co., affectionately called the Count's Forge, in the remote Nomasburg region so he could freely explore his passion for alchemy. Like many alchemists, Walter had unwavering faith in his skill to discover elemental transmutations, chiefly the transmutation of lead into gold. The Count's Forge helped usher the Nomasburg region into an economic boom. Walter employed a large workforce and paid excellent wages. The Count's Forge focused on tunneling underground to extract rich lead deposits, which Walter and his group of mystical chemists used in clandestine experiments, trying to uncover the secrets of metallurgical transmutation. It was only a matter of time, at least so they believed, until their company would be the most powerful company in the world, with access to a limitless supply of gold and untapped riches. They embarked on their mission with unrestrained enthusiasm. However, as the years went by and thousands of experiments failed to bring them any closer to their magical gold formula, many of Walter's friends and chemists lost hope and eventually left. Walter zealously steered the company onwards with resolute determination, convinced they will make a breakthrough. Sadly, it was not to be. An experiment caused a large explosion, destroying the secret underground laboratory and killing Walter. In honor of their brother, the four sisters refused to sell the Count's foundry. Today, visitors are strictly forbidden, but this does not deter curious thrill seekers and adventurers from exploring the abandoned foundry and tunnel network. I would like to say a big thanks to Jester Maroc for the name and the backstory. With that, let's get into today's episode. How's it everybody? Welcome back to the Nomasburg region. It's Sanctum Gamer here, and today we are kicking things off with a little bit of road layouts and road networks. So I never really liked that straight road, or that sort of almost straight road that went from this roundabout in the bottom right corner all the way to the road that runs to Euclid Gardens, the circular garden homes. And I've always wanted to change this around, make it a little bit more irregular. So I thought this was a good opportunity to do that, since we'll be expanding out in this area. So we started off by making changes to the road layouts. It's not as straight anymore. And now we're going to start focusing on filling a lot of this space with residential areas and basically farmlands. So this area is the outskirts of this town. We are blending out of what is the downtown area or the core of this town. This town will not extend, at least not residentially, past the highway that you see running along the left hand side, going to join the main the main highway running through the region. So over here we'll have a small concentration of some residential areas, standalone houses for the most part, because we are on the outskirts, and then that is going to blend out into some farmlands just to kind of end off the boundaries of this town. So for this part, we're not doing anything too out of the ordinary. It's just going to be all of these these beautiful European suburbia houses mixed in with a lot of these King Leno assets, which I believe he created them for the University CCP Creator Content Pack. Mixing the two houses together makes everything look so much cooler. What I like about the King Leno houses is they come kind of detailed, so they've got some decals and stuff all over the place, but they don't have any fences and things like cobblestone pathways and stuff like that that the European suburbia assets come with. So it gives me the ability to play around with the King Leno houses a little bit more, in that I can rotate them a bit, get them to face different angles, whereas the European suburbia ones, because they come with the detailed fences, the backyards and so on, I use those whenever I am building something that is slightly more gritty and needs a bit more structure to it. So combining the two, I think, works super awesome. I love using the suburbia ones to create these sort of farmlands. So putting them down, I put down a couple of barns in sort of their backyards, lead a couple of roads to them, and then once I have all those houses and those barns in place, I basically spend the time filling out all the empty spaces with anything that will look like farm assets. This meadow asset is amazing. It covers such large ground, and it's got a very high or a very long render distance, so from afar you get to see it nicely. And then just to break the monotony of the decals, I like to put down these tree or bushes. So they're tiny bushes that I just lay in straight lines, and then it looks like you've got different types of farms that are taking place in the area that I am working on. I don't like doing the tree lines too much because it's a tree killer. You can imagine if I start building gardens or all these farmlands with these trees going in straight lines and straight lines and straight lines, I mean, I'll very quickly destroy my tree limit. So I mean, it's not a train smash, but it will affect the rendering capabilities of my poor PC, and my frame rate will drop even further than it already has, which is actually a nice segue into a question that I quite often get, or comment that I often get, about how do I manage to get my cities to run so smoothly. I need you to keep in mind is that my game does not run smoothly. The reason you see it running smoothly is because everything is sped up, right? This video is sped up 5 times. And when you speed up something that much, all the frame drops pretty much disappear. But for those who are wondering, my Nomasburg city currently is running at, I think, about 10 FPS, give or take, maybe a little bit more depending upon which part of the actual map I'm at and what I'm looking at. So from an angle like this that I'm building from, it's got very limited stuff in the viewport. So from this sort of angle, I can get something like 15 to 20 FPS, maybe even more. But then by the time I finish detailing out the area like I'm doing now, that will generally drop into the very low teens. But then when I'm looking at the entire map, then that's a completely different story. Then I drop down into single digit FPS. So my game is by no means super smooth. It is quite laggy, but it's something that you get used to. Anybody who plays this game as a detailer and does a lot of detailing, the things where you just have to accept is that the FPS is going to drop. If you do not want a drop in FPS, then 1, don't install custom assets. Don't detail that live your life away in the cities that you build, and don't install, for the most part, visual mods. But as long as you play with any of those, you're going to have frame drops. I don't know of anybody who's managed to set up a PC that's able to render this game at like a smooth 30 plus FPS once they start getting into the level of detail. So yeah, that's that. We're just continuing the detailing here of the farmlands. So to the top is the lake that basically borders, or that's the circular garden homes sit around. So what I've purposely done is left that area undetailed in this episode, and when we'll have a live stream, well, at the time of this, tomorrow, which would be the day after this video releases, and we'll spend some time probably doing some detailing in and around that space. And it's really going to be mainly the nature stuff, so we'll put down a couple of rocks, bushes, that kind of stuff, and then that frees me up to focus for this build to just include more content in this episode. So as you can see, I'm actually spending a lot more time on a specific angle and not cutting away too much, because I'm trying to split up what I do in episodes and what I do in live streams, try and move the things that are rather mundane or rather monotonous to live streams, and then I try and include as much unique stuff as I can in the actual episodes. That takes us into what is, I suppose, the unique build for this episode, which is a paintball arena. Now, I got a comment on a video, I think 2 or 3 videos back, from a viewer by the name of A2R Gaming, and it was a rather interesting comment, but they talked about a paintball arena, right? Proceeding to buy a paintball arena, and I thought to myself, that's not something I've seen too many people try and build. In fact, I haven't seen anybody build it. I'm not saying nobody has built it, but I haven't seen anybody build it. So I thought I would give it a try and build an area within this town that is meant to be a paintball arena. So this space that I'm working on now is the entrance to this paintball arena. So you got this building that sits here, and the idea is things like all the equipment that is needed, the staff, and so on, they all work within this building. But it's a fairly large building, not because they built a large building for this, but because they took over whatever was here. So there might have been some old factory or some old was this in hostel or something along the lines, and the company that has set up this paintball arena came, they bought the space out, and then they converted this building into their sort of office in this place. Cleared out some ground towards the top of the screen there to create a parking lot, and then they set up this paintball arena. Now, I divided the idea of this arena into 2. This area that we're working on now is considered the smaller arena, or the places where I suppose the amateurs maybe would go and play, or the younger kids will play, or basically anybody who wants a small place to run around in and do their thing. And then towards the top, we are going to build a slightly larger one, and that one is meant to be for bigger paintball tournaments, for more advanced players and stuff like that. Now, creating this is, in my mind, was fairly simple and fairly straightforward. Is putting down a bunch of containers that work as places that you can duck and hide behind, and then I got all these old car props that I've put all over the place. So you can imagine the company will probably have gone to the scrapyard, bought a couple of old scrap cars, come and dump them down. You have these sandbags that I'm placing down now as places where people can again use as cover and so on. And then there are these old train assets that are also put together, offering a different sort of flavor to the whole place. So a place that you can go in, hide, fight, do whatever you need to do. You can also use it as cover. And then all around the arena is this thick forest, just to make sure that, you know, people can't just wander their way into the arena and get shot in the eyeball by a paintball or something. That will not be very pleasant, you know. And also you can imagine if people are in there firing paintballs waywardly, at least you've got all these trees that serve as a buffer to hopefully stop anything from flying out and smacking some poor person that's driving past their car window or whatever. And then this is the side that is the slightly bigger arena. So you got 2 different entrances, as you can see on the left hand side there as you enter. If you're going to the bigger arena, you'd work your way towards the top. If you're going to a smaller arena, you would walk down towards the screen. And then you have this entrance place where you got some kind of a guard that sits there and checks your permits to make sure that you are supposed to be using that arena. Surrounded the whole place with trees, also just to make sure that whoever is sitting in there doesn't just randomly get shot by some wayward ball. And then I wanted to center this arena around this rock formation that was there. So you can imagine this rock formation being there, and instead of clearing it out, they decided to make use of it and kind of build the arena all around the rock formation. And then just continuing with detailing out the place, which is putting down a whole bunch of containers, a whole bunch of fences. I put down barrels, old cars, old train carts. You got little places which work like shelters towards the left of the screen, where if you are running a really long tournament for whatever reason, maybe there might be like resupply places there, and you can imagine those areas becoming like points of serious contention as 2 or 3 or 4 teams work to try and like hold that space, so that they can keep resupplying themselves with paintball. I mean, whatever. I mean, you can think of how you can, play your own size of how you set up these tournaments and so on. So that was kind of the thinking behind it. I got all these car tires as well that I'm putting all over the place, so offering lots of places for people to be able to duck and use as shelter and so on. But yeah, so that is it. That is my take on a little paintball arena. I'll see in the live stream what we can do about making it a little bit more active. Unfortunately, it isn't a park, but I think if I can put some people park generators in there just to get people walking around, I think it will just add a little bit more life, even though it will probably be tourists that will be walking around. But anyway, that's it for this episode for my paintball park. Let me know what you think. If you've got ideas of other things that you would like to see, definitely leave it in the comments. I check the comments from time to time, especially when I am running dry with ideas of what to build. I scour the comments, find some crazy and interesting things that have been suggested, and I try and build those. So thank you everybody, thank you for watching. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I hope to catch you in the live stream tomorrow on Twitch, catch you on the Discord server, and if not, I shall catch you all, I guess, in the next video. Take care, keep safe, keep safe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers everybody.